Hi, folks. Well, the Aronian Nakamura Showdown in St. Louis, $100,000 purse, goes into the Blitz part of the match. Right now it is tied. Each has a win and each has a draw. So let's see what happens in the Blitz. These are some games I highlighted at the end, the last 2 or 3 minutes of each Blitz game. It's really, really great, exciting stuff. Please don't miss any of this action.
You have control over the d5 square and you have control over the b file.
And going after quick play, guys, rook b4, attacking the pawn on e4. Nakamura already having to defend the position.
Awkward move, f2, f3, not the type of move that Hikaru wanted. Castles, obviously, knight ge2 and maybe queen back to b6 just to delay white from castling. But this is an early initiative in game one for...
I'm surprised, though, Yaz. Why is he taking so long on castles? His time is ticking. He's going to have a minute left. What is he looking for a forcing line for?
Good question, Maurice. No idea. I would have castled almost unblinkingly.
Beautiful.
Also, his rook on b4 is on a weird square. He's trying to prevent white from castling, but now the rook has been challenged, and looks like he has to go to d4.
But that might not be so bad. That's a pretty aggressive square. I mean...
Might just get trapped. What does the rook do?
It might get trapped, but also it blocks the long diagonal. It blocks the diagonal to stop the king from castling after queen f2 or queen e3. Now white has no issues.
So the nice thing here is
what
rook
about
d1
rook takes e4?
Oh, rook takes e4.
Rook takes e4.
Oops. He shouldn't have gone on the e4 square. He just blundered.
Aye.
Nakamura just hung his queen.
Correct.
He's gone.
So rook d1 check, knight takes d1, but rook e4 on the other hand, there's no way to capture and defend the queen on e3.
Wow, this is a disaster.
That's a game winner.
Well, he's managed to get a rook and a piece for it, but Black's also got massive activity here. Queen e3 check could be coming. Instead, Levon just getting his rook into the game.
With f7, f5, yeah.
Still can't castle.
This is over. This is disaster.
This is terrible.
So
that was just a horrible beginning. And with the increments, those 2 extra seconds, you're not coming back against a guy like Aronian. This is just death. He should have played queen f2 in that position instead of queen d4, and he chose queen e3, and now he's just toast. He has no activity anywhere.
That's why you have to look at all of the forcing moves, right? Not just rook d1, but the other one as well. And we're going to see an early lead for Levon Aronian, and now a lot of people are predicting Nakamura was a favorite, but let's see how Levon finishes this off. How's his technique? Because so many people, they play pretty well when Blitz in the opening, they get good positions, but then they can't finish their opponents off with such a short time.
Exactly.
So here, Levon...
Technique is very, very important.
So what do you think people do wrong? They sometimes oversimplify, don't you think? And so, like, look at how Levon here is just continuing to be aggressive even though he's winning, rather than like scrambling to trade a pair of knights or something like that.
No,
like,
this is
let's checkmate him, right?
Come on.
Yeah.
White has no good pieces. The 2 knights and rook don't coordinate at all. Queen is just a perfect piece. There's just almost no tricks in a position like this.
No.
That said, there are knights on the board. So
I know. I was going to say, Maurice, no tricks with knights on the board?
Wow.
That can't be real.
Now he's trying to coordinate his forces just a little bit. That last move was not a bad one, but can he just play queen f5 check
F5
here in the worst case?
Yeah, queen f5 and
then d3
or
it's just a disaster.
Yeah. I was looking at queen b2 actually.
Also
just,
quite strong.
After check on e6, move the king. King g8, knight takes, queen takes a3. Just pick off another pawn, and just keep the material edge as well. And by the way, this also sets up a future c6, c5.
Yeah, c5, and then the pawn on b3 hangs.
Exactly.
So hanging on by a thread here, Hikaru, with this move rook c3, queen a1 check doesn't lead to anything, but
centralizing the queen.
And finally, that c5 move that you recommended.
And by the way,
earlier.
16 seconds, guys. 16 seconds, 17 seconds, I beg your pardon, for
Aronian, yeah.
For Aronian.
So he has eaten up a little bit of time, and look at how fast Nakamura is going. He saved worse positions.
Oh my goodness.
He has saved positions. This is a check, though.
This is important check. Oh, there goes another pawn.
And another pawn off the board.
But e7 is hanging with a check. And there's a knight c2 check in the position alert. Fork alert.
Yes, he might want to play knight e7 himself, but that fork is a problem. But it looks like he thinks he solved it. And he's really showing some speed and tenacity as Nakamura. He should have been dead already. But Aronian is down to 12 seconds.
Queen H2 with knight C2 in the air. All kind. Ooh.
Still defending, but his pieces are now being chased. Where does he put it? His knights are connected. But there's no easy mate here.
Well, he's going to go knight F3.
Oh, knight F3 is on tap.
On tap, yeah.
Knight F3 is going to be brutal.
And
His mating formations on D2. Doesn't seem like he has a single move to deal with that.
Maybe he's got to have to play knight C8, Maurice. Try for knight D6 check. That could
Play
take
knight
the deal.
F4.
Knight F4.
He's going to sack his piece.
Just to get some time.
Queen check, king up.
Knight F3. Oh, he didn't play it. Oh, Levon has definitely slipped.
Ooh.
He's feeling the pressure, and he's not playing accurately. I can't even keep up with him
And
now.
no,
Only
these
7
knights.
seconds left.
Wow, this is a remarkable performance by Nakamura. Never
Nakamura,
give
the
up.
fact that he's still in the game. Look at this. He might be winning the
Take
pawn
the
on
rook.
on C4. Is that a pawn he's taking?
Oh, he could have taken the rook and taken the pawn.
An incredible performance by Nakamura, man. Don't give up, guys.
Look at this. How does he get out of the checks? How does he get out of these checks? It looks like a perpetual. Is that possible?
No, we're bringing the rook closer, but he's got to be careful, too.
Look at this. And Nakamura even won the game.
Checkmate.
He
Oh,
hung
my
mate at the end.
God.
What a comeback.
Wow.
That was astonishing, guys.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Nakamura dropping his queen and winning the game anyway.
And even Nakamura looks a little bit embarrassed. He feels bad. He's shaking his head even though he checkmated his opponent. Can we find that final checkmate?
Yes, here it is.
Let's
on
look
the
at that.
board.
Where do you
Here it is on the
checkmate?
board. If we can pull it up, it's right here.
Yeah.
In this position,
Knight F6 was...
he coordinated his knights beautifully, and after the king went back, the king goes here, and he played knight F6, and there's no place to put the king. If the king goes here, look at the two knights dancing on him, and if the king goes here, it's the same thing. Beautiful finish by Nakamura. Amazing.
Wow.
He was.
8.
The knight's going to land on C6, and there's nobody on the C file.
And to clog it up. Yeah. Good move. by
What a
He also
great
control the
move by
D4 and
Nakamura.
B4
Just
squares.
So
Yeah.
fast, guys.
Yeah. That it feels it.
That's an
Doesn't
amazing
he?
move.
And a great one.
It's put him in the tank. It's put Levon in the tank, and now the knight goes to C6, and black looks fine.
Absolutely.
Black has absolutely equalized his position, and now bringing his bishop around. Notice how Nakamura doesn't take more than 5 seconds, 10 seconds to make a move. He's already a minute ahead on the clock.
That's remarkable. Rook C7, Rook C8, Rook C1, Rook C7. Ooh, always be careful about putting those rooks all together. But there's no bishop A5? Yes, there is. Pardon me.
But
He's just pushing him back with B6.
Are we sure we're getting pushed back, Maurice? Bishop B4? I don't see the pushback yet.
But Bishop B4 is interesting.
There could be a...
Bishop B4.
And then we want to take on F8 and play B4.
Correct, exactly, and
To
try
try
to
to-
take advantage of the pin on the C file. We didn't want to allow black to play bishop D6, then black would actually be better. So bishop B4 messes up black's defensive strategy here, but the difference of a minute, I just don't see how you overcome that. That's huge at this level.
Well, Nakamura is eating up a little time here because he's not quite sure what to do. This is a very good move. So as we were pointing out, if the bishop were in D6, then knight takes B4 would be allowed. But right now, there's just this lovely pin on the C file that Aronian induced with the move B6. Well, there was already a pin, but now he's got pressure on the knight as well.
Exactly.
Can't he play A5 and bring his king closer?
Well,
A5, but the B4 idea, the king doesn't get there soon
We
enough.
still, yeah, so if A5, bishop takes F8, king takes F8, B4 anyway. You can't take twice
and the
because
king
C7
doesn't get there
hangs.
fast enough.
Right,
The rook
and then-
on C7 is the problem. But
He
he has
has
played
played
A5.
He
A5.
has played
And
it.
the king takes, and now B4, he trades.
And he
There's
can just
gotta
play
be-
B5.
And he plays B5.
But
But
now
rook
not-
C5.
C5 is a super weakness, huh?
No, I like D4 with the idea of bishop F1.
Ah.
Yeah, that's annoying.
D4 looks good to me.
And you don't like rook C5 as much because you think that, what's wrong with rook C5? Okay,
Well,
it was played.
It was played.
Yeah, rook
You think
C5. the
B4 is going
pawn's
to hang
hanging.
somewhere?
B4 is not hanging, and he's going to take a pawn on B5. What's wrong with this?
This is very good.
Also looks very good. Yeah, just, you had too many good choices, huh?
And also there's an idea maybe of knight D2 and the D5 pawn is hanging as well once your rook is ensconced on C5.
And look, the time is almost equalizing
He's
now.
given his pawn. He's a pawn down. Nakamura is now down a pawn, and the clock times have basically equalized. So White is winning, but we saw Levon winning before. He was up a queen before. It feels somehow a pawn down doesn't seem so bad when you're up a queen. You survive.
A pawn will be enough. A queen is too much. We have this saying in poker: too many outs.
Too many outs. Okay.
Nakamura now cementing the king side.
Well, I don't know if this is cement or
yum yum.
Or yum yum. I was thinking rook c5, bishop f1. If white can get in those two moves, it's all she wrote. But king, ooh, king there.
6, no knight c4 to worry about.
Why not? I thought knight c4 was, in fact, the big worry. Knight c4.
Knight c4, he has to take it.
Yeah.
And then rook takes. There's no knight b4 tactics in that position?
No.
He has to be careful. You take with the back rook.
Yeah.
Right.
So knight b4 is the threat right now, or knight could go to e5 as well.
Okay, 23 seconds for Levon, everybody.
h3?
What?
What is that?
He's setting up for a knight takes e4.
Knight takes e4 trick.
Yeah. Ooh, what a cheapo artist.
That is really
That
sneaky.
is.
But is he winning in this position, though? If you get rid of the b pawn,
No, he's not.
it doesn't look like it's winning. Why don't you just take knight takes b4?
By the way, guys, 30 seconds to 24 seconds. The increments are going to be critical in the next phase of the game.
So you're saying that after knight b4, a massive trade on c7, takes on e4, that might not be winnable. So Nakamura has
Oh
not
my gosh,
taken on
takes
b4.
on e4 wins.
But
Takes on e4 wins. Takes on e4 wins, guys.
There it is. There it is. Knight takes e4. He missed it
And
because
Hikaru
b5 is
shaking
coming
his
at the
head.
end.
Yes,
Dropped the
exactly.
second pawn. B5 is coming. So he's blundered now with only 18 seconds left. He can't believe it.
But he was under pressure.
But knight
Maurice.
b4 was easier. Going to the
Right.
pawn
Of
down.
course.
Well, maybe this
Pawn
is, but this
down.
is more lost.
This
for
is
sure.
terribly lost.
Wham! And
Or
takes,
in
and
other
now
words,
b5.
2 pawns is better than 1, especially when
Ah,
that one
they're in a
pawn
rook
is sticking
takes
on
now.
c6.
Yeah. This is-
They're in a rook. They're in
This
a
is
king
a
of pawn
pawn ending where this is just child's play.
This is
for-
over.
This is gotta be just
G4.
nice.
Very nice.
Look at that
moves, by the
technique.
way.
And F3 maybe, or even F4 for en passant's going to have to happen here.
F3 looks like a nice move for bringing
Gotta
that
play
king
it.
into it
Yeah,
quickly,
there's the en
or
passant.
take F4.
And now, but after king d5,
Yes.
e4 is not playable.
Why?
Wait a second. Now he can just triangulate
More
and bring his king back
triangulation.
around and then win the king and pawn ending. He can
Exactly.
resign.
Hey, we saw this in another game with Aronian and his win, right? There were all these crazy king and pawn endgames. There was a beautiful g4 move. There was a triangulation.
Right.
So
By the way, guys, 10 seconds for
Hikaru.
Hikaru, 13 seconds for Levon. Can't play king e4, king.
King
Well,
e2,
he
he
did.
did it. And now
He did it.
But now
king
we
d3.
see-
But wait, he's ready to play king f4? Is he surviving? I don't
No.
think so.
So Levon has
This looks-
calculated this.
This
Yeah,
looks
he
like it
just
takes
got a
too much
queen.
time,
No, that's over.
and he resigns. The queen is coming.
And the score is 1-1.
See that every day. 4 connected passports. Okay, 2 of them are doubled, but 4 of them, he is way up. He's still not castled yet, and 1 knight has been wreaking havoc so far, just munching on pawns. This is very serious. Nakamura is going to have to cook up some magic to get out of this.
Well, maybe we start with check. Start with c6.
No, you can't just
queen
trade.
b4.
Queen b4. Knight can come back nicely to d5, comfortably keeping the knight. Oh,
Queen boogie into the position.
All
Wow.
right, well, we do have the dark squares.
Yes, indeed. The dark square bishop isn't. But e4 is also a challenge. Rook d1 and chasing the knight away from that square is going to be a big deal.
So this queen lodged in c5 is sweet because now we're holding back castling, right?
But what's queen b6 here? Queen b6 is a blunder?
there's a rook hanging. Well, there's an exchange hanging on a8 in that case. Queen takes
Right,
b6, knight
trade
takes
and
b.
then go after that. But then
Right.
there's 3 connected passed pawns.
Except a6 is hanging.
At the end, okay. Well, but there's
Still.
a bishop still in. Oh, you're
Oh,
saying. What are you
Wait a
saying?
minute.
Queen b6, knight b6, bishop c6, check. Followed by, if you play bishop d7, I'll take the rook and I'll take the
Well,
pawn
we
on
don't
a6.
have to play bishop c6. Maybe we could play king f8 or something.
Yeah,
So
that's
that,
sharp because
so
it's
that
a
we can
file.
at least hold on to.
And now bishop to b7.
Now rook d1 with this idea Maurice mentioned, just putting the
E4
pressure with
coming.
e4. So now what does black do now?
This is
now we
serious.
can play. Now we can't play queen b6 because of just rook takes d5.
Wow, he just sacked an exchange
So-
by castling.
I think he sacrificed a piece, actually. e4, queen b6, rook takes d5.
Yes, right. That was the problem with queen b6 prior move too. Just rook takes d5.
But
Exactly.
he's got those 4 connected passed pawns. He doesn't
Exactly.
care. He just wants to
And
trade
rook takes
everybody
C5
off.
quickly played, and now we're in the endgame, and the rook is trapped on C5.
Oh, get out. Look at that rook.
Oh,
What
my.
the heck? And it's 4 connected passers, but the pawn is hanging. A rook on E7 now, E6 trying to
getting
break
that
the structure,
bishop.
and his bishop on F3 is going to come into play.
That's right. That move E6 played so quickly. And
Rook D8.
as
Rook
usual, we've
D8.
got a massive edge on clock for Nakamura. But this one's
Only-
bigger than usual.
Hold on,
Wait a minute,
seconds.
8 seconds?
We were
8
so,
seconds.
We were so fascinated by the position, we lost track.
This has got to be in Nakamura's favor, even down tons of material.
True. That's what we said last time, though, too.
Rook C8 just to keep that rook trapped.
He's double
he
rooks
hasn't.
looking for a trade.
Oh my, no. I think Hikaru has swindled his way into a winning position now. Although time is the key factor. Ooh, C3. Hold on.
Whoa,
he
what
moved
is
his rook
happening?
from C5. That was unexpected. He unleashed.
The
And he
C5.
moved it back. That was probably clever. He said, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Oh my God, he's still got only 7 seconds.
Oh, boy.
E3, there's 2 connected pass pawns. It doesn't. Black should be fine here, no? Even though he's down a piece, there's always the threat of the pawn advancing. Oh, but now that B pawn might drop.
And you got to be a little bit careful about the rook sliding over.
There it goes. The B pawn
And it's
is going to
over.
drop.
It's over.
It's over. He has no
Bishop
time to
F3.
play.
Bishop-
There goes the bishop, and the C pawn is going to go.
And it's resigns.
Not yet. He's just played to beat. But can he take the pawn?
It looks,
He should take
He
the
looks
should
like he
take
can
and
just
push
take
and
it.
rook behind pawn, and that might cost him a rook. It will cost him a rook.
But there's a check.
But this check is going to win an exchange on the back. You just take the queen first, no?
you better take the queen.
Why isn't he taking the
actually.
queen? Just take it.
Take the queen and bishop C8.
Yeah,
then
take
you're
the queen
good.
Exactly,
and
and,
bishop
and then
C8.
bishop C8, and that's it.
Whoa.
Wow, what a swindle by Nakamura.
Oh,
man.
Game 1 was a swindle. Game 3 was, I don't know, just a mess. And a massive time edge for
He was
for
down a ton of
Tanaka.
pawns, and he just kept it crazy. It's so.
D5, isn't he? He's basically forced to take on D5, take on C7,
pawn
take
on-
on C, take on D5.
And then you have time to play, what, knight D6,
I
knight
don't
C8 or
know.
something,
No,
maybe?
no way.
E4.
No
He's
way in
gotta-
the world.
he's-
Trade, and pawn takes.
He's got to
There's-
play E4 to
E4.
close down that, shut down that bishop on G2.
We saw that structure before, though. Remember, his pawn on E4 got snapped off. I don't think he can play it. Rook B1 looks normal, and now he's after this pawn. Now the threat of E4 is in the position.
All right,
Unleashing the bishop. What does Levon do here to deal with the move
thinking-
E4?
I'm thinking bishop A3, and in case of E4, just bring your rook to the C file.
But then no, that's right. That would work out. Instead, he's shut the bishop down on that square.
So that he can play bishop E3 now.
Bishop E3 looks natural, but what's the purpose of it, though? Is it to take the knight? Bishop opposite color position doesn't look natural. Also, isn't bishop F8 coming now? Can't black try to bring this
Make a
bishop
blockade?
back?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not.
maybe bishop E3 and then A4. And it's a little bit awkward for black because you can't move your A pawn with that knight sitting on B6.
Yeah, but it's going to be a blockade. I like this
You
bishop
think it's
F8.
just going to move back to C8 at the right
Correct.
moment. Yeah, and that also protects A7. So after
Very.
A4, knight C8.
Very important blockade. I think you just look at the position objectively. You got the two Bs. Why not open up the position with a move like F2, F4? Instantly played, by the way, by Nakamura, rook C7, D7.
The D pawn is dead.
Well,
I mean,
you
he's
always
gonna-
have bishop B6. So not dead.
Bishop, I'm sorry, always
You
what?
take
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
A7.
saying. So the D pawn is currently under fire heavily.
Yeah.
And he's just ignored it. Look at that. He's played A4 because he would have won the A7 pawn. Nakamura now looking to blockade on D6 with his
Exactly.
knight instead.
Because
This-
otherwise we would have had similar themes to our previous game with the knight being pinned up on D5.
And not having none of it. D6. That pawn is hanging 4 different ways. But the B7 pawn is hanging, and the A7 pawn. White has given away the pride of his position so that he can clip off one of those pawns on the queen's side, and therefore get a majority with his 2 bishops. Great idea right now.
And
Right.
there's also some ideas of bishop D5 and bishop E6 lurking in the position, and
Absolutely.
then we take on C8, and guess what? D6 just fell.
That was a great
So
move,
bishop
guys.
D6,
D6.
bishop D5 check is winning, I think.
Stopped
Right,
him,
that's a threat.
stopped him in his tracks. Look at this. Nakamura now under 52 seconds, and he's finally taken the pawn.
With the knight, so now
Allowing bishop takes A7.
Yes.
A7 is straight hanging, and is there a pin on this file? A7, there it goes, and now the knight is headed to the D4 square.
And now it's two bishops in an open position, and a majority for white on the queen side. Definitely white for choice here, folks.
But as usual, Nakamura has the time advantage.
Look at this.
As
Just
usual.
Immediately, he's so casual right now. The guy's
Well-
under heavy time duress already. Nice move, getting his bishop to C4, but the knight has found that beautiful D4 square.
Well, how about rook C8, activate the rook, and then play bishop C4 check?
Agreed.
Right, we don't need
I
to
would
do it
do
now
that in half a
because
second.
Knight B3 is taboo.
Whoa, he's gone into an
Bishops of
ending.
opposite color ending.
What
Didn't
is
expect
this?
that.
This looks like a
Draw.
Yes, sir, you
I
lost
didn't
it
expect.
here.
I didn't expect that.
There's
I'm really
like
sorry.
No real
Check.
chances here.
Well,
That bishop is protected forever, and he
well,
can't.
I don't see how he's going to utilize
win?
his queen side. That bishop on C3 is simply too strong. I think Levon made a
Positional error.
A positional
Giving up
error.
those two bishops, unless there was some tactical justification for it. But like, we all kind of gasped
gasp.
because not
It's
a
so
tactical.
anti-positional.
Not
Look
a
at the
tactical
black
error,
king,
but a
guys.
Positional error.
That black king is just
Well,
dominant in the middle of the board.
Wait a minute. There is, well, I was about to say there was an idea of B6 and rook C7, king D6, stop that. But now Levon's idea is
B6.
A5.
A5 will never happen now. You can forget about that idea forever.
Yeah, B6 has been played, and now Levon low on time.
7 seconds, it has to move. He has to get
Oh, my goodness.
his 2 seconds back. He keeps getting himself in time pressure. Even when he tried not to get in time pressure, he got in time pressure. Now it's 30 seconds for Nakamura, just showing his blitz skills, his bullet skills. And he's automatic right now, bringing his king back, gaining time on the clock. That white king, here it comes. White king trying to
Finally.
get into the game.
Finally, I thought that white needed to play G4, by the way, and he has
And he
done it.
has gotten that move in, yes.
A very important move so that when you go king E4, you don't get pushed away by F5 check.
And now stopping the king from entering with that move. Now rook over again.
Right?
Nakamura is fierce. He's trying to think, is there any way I can play for a win here?
Rook's got to move. Another threat. He's just forcing the black pieces to go back and forth, and now centralizing. Isn't rook E8 possible?
Yes, it was played. And H4, H5.
Total control of the board somehow. Oh, wait a minute. Here goes his A pawn.
Whoa.
His A pawn's going to drop.
Why don't he just...
But it looks like a repetition, folks. I think we're going to see the first draw in the
Why
match.
should he repeat, though? Why not take the pawn on A4? What's wrong with that?
G6
Well,
is
also
hanging.
Oh, G6 is hanging, so he doesn't want to. But now he's changed his mind. He's going
No
around
more
to
draw.
G2.
Oh, he can play bishop takes G6 and H6 instead.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that could have been a great idea, Jen.
Right.
I think he missed that one.
Uh-oh.
Got to
Time
make a
is
move. He's
factor.
going after the pawn. He's defended.
Time is huge. Huge
And
factor.
now what's
What was
this?
that?
There's a
Bishop C4 check.
Check threat.
Blunder alert.
But what about rook
Blunder
takes
alert.
A4? What's wrong with the pawn? He's going after the bishop instead.
Coming back. Rook
C6
C6 is coming. It's all coming down to 8 seconds, 11
But
seconds.
They're both under
Nakamura's
10
time is
seconds.
going down, and now a pawn is going to go. So for sure, they has to take, and now white is up. White is up a pawn, and white is almost ahead on the clock as well. There goes the second pawn.
But wait a minute, rook D2, and we lost the blockade of the D3 pawn.
This pawn
D3.
could start, and he's threatening on F2. Is rook F6 forced here? No, he just played F3.
Oh
A
my
check,
God.
and he's lost the pawn anyway.
What is this?
Oh my God! The time Nakamura is outplaying him now in the pressure.
There's a check on the get the
There's
rook
no
behind.
check on D8. The
Why
bishop
not?
is guarding.
Oh, I apologize.
The check, he's guarding. He's just
D2.
pushed, and he's going for the queen. Look at this. Nakamura just calmly whipping out the moves, and it looks like he's going to win a piece at least here.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
my.
rook on B8 is just anemic, and only 3 seconds left, and he's resigned. Wow.
Another victory by Nakamura, taking the lead. Yeah.
E6, knight F6 is a nice tempo, by the way. Defending the
He-
pawn on
he
H5.
definitely did not play this right. Nakamura
swings.
has messed this up big time. It's 5 pawns to 3. Exchange is it's a knight and 2 pawns for the rook.
Right. And we all know the knights can be tricky.
And
in
the weak
blitz.
C3 pawn. And the weak C3 pawn, guys.
Right.
Nakamura's
No.
taking a lot of time trying to consolidate this position.
A huge swing
So,
so far.
E6, knight F6, queen G2.
He's not going to play E6.
I
He's shaking
can
his
take
head. Nakamura is shaking his head. He's not happy with what he did, and now he's trying to stabilize the position.
With the move queen D4. So queen D4, queen F5 should be quickly done, by the way.
What
I
about
don't
queen
think
F3? Yes. Queen F3 hitting the rook?
I like queen F3 better. I stand corrected. Thank you, Maurice.
Well, okay, so if queen f3...
But he has only 15 seconds
He's
left.
done it again.
Dude, what are you doing?
Rook c6.
C6, guarding the pawn. Real positional move.
I would have wanted to
e6 is still possible here, though.
I would have wanted to keep the queens on
Okay,
rook
instead.
h4.
That's a nice
Some,
one.
I'm
Forcing
not sure.
some kind
Queen
of trade.
f5. Queen f5. It's not clear to me. Ooh, no time.
No time. 9 seconds. He's
Knight
back.
f6. Knight
He's back
f6.
in
Quickly.
this situation.
Knight f6. And
7 seconds left. That's all. This is what's costing him every single game. But at least he's still in the position right now. Somehow hanging on by his
Queen
fingernails.
Queen g7, queen f8. Okay, so he took an f7
Gotta take
there.
that guy.
Yeah, otherwise f8 queen.
Black is fine. Black, I say fine.
Rook e6.
But rook e6 and black is okay. With 8 seconds, he's playing with just very little time on the clock.
quickly, queen e6. Quickly.
He has resigned.
What, did he lose on time, perhaps? What happened?
e6 that I thought everything was possible. All three
We have
results.
Tony mic'd up. What
Finding out the
happened?
result.
The game ended in a draw.
Ah,
Game ended in a draw.
That's what it was. Okay, I thought maybe that's with the weak pawn on c3.
Absolutely. I didn't like this move, knight c5. I thought he was going to retreat his knight to d2 and go to
C3
f3.
pawn just is
It's
directly hanging, and you don't. And the other knight's coming to d5 now that he's
Or c4.
got.
Oof.
Or c4.
Or
I think.
c4. You're right, Jen. This looks.
Well, I'm still not convinced.
Decent,
Bishop,
but-
bishop d2. Bishop d2.
You think black's better though? I mean,
No.
white's better.
Black
No.
had twice as much time.
White is in trouble.
Trouble is strong. I still think that black is actually, pardon me, white is okay.
Yasser won't give up on the two bishops
I
so
won't give
easily.
up.
No,
I'm stubborn as well.
The guy might be okay, you know, if you have give me 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but Nakamura just needs to find a couple of pressure moves, and he'll only have 15 seconds left on his clock again. Right?
And
That's-
again,
if he can find those moves, and he's just offered a queen trade, I would
Queen c4?
not have thought to do that, but it's
that's
on the
a little-
board. Knight
Okay,
c4 now,
so-
bishop
Bishop
e1,
e1.
and now
White's
I
fine.
do like white. Like, what was that about? The knight can be kicked off of c4. Bishop f1 could come at any time. I'm
hold
very
on.
surprised by that. And the b7 pawn is hanging.
So
Okay.
we started with knight a3, and now what's up with this move?
Well, I think Hikaru has rook c1,
Yeah.
rook d1, knight c2 in mind.
Exactly,
and
so
just
we can't
get
just
rid
take
of
on
that.
d8 and take on b7, because then we would have rook d1, king f1, knight c2.
Or bishop c3. But
Yeah.
exactly, you got that pin on the
Black
first rank.
looks like black can draw by trading
Yes, I agree
on
with
d1
that.
and then playing knight c2, because I don't think you want to play bishop d2.
No, I agree with that. Rook d1, knight c2, c4, knight e1, rook e1, bishops of opposite color, even,
And draw.
and draw.
And so Nakamura, this could be 2 draws in a row, and my bet would be off.
Whoa!
Forget the draw. I'm going to draw back. That's weird.
That is
That's a weird
strange.
decision, because now here comes that king competing with the 2 bishops in this uncertain times. I don't know.
Knight b2 is his idea, trying to wrench control over that file.
True that.
That
but
was a good point. I would have
Rook
played bishop
takes.
f1 instead of king f1.
Rook takes,
But-
rook b1 perhaps?
Rook b1. Rook b1. That
I'm trying to go after the
no, rook
b7.
b1, rook d1 is playable. No, am I? No, it's not, because you
It's
can
a
take the knight
piece.
and rook e2.
It's a piece, Maurice.
No, I know, but I was going to
Rook
play bishop
d2,
c3.
Bishop c3, but there's rook d2.
But there's rook
yeah.
d2 at the very end,
Yeah.
so he can't
Right.
play. So rook b1 is playable, yes.
And he has done
And this
it.
is a free pawn coming up.
Yeah, I think Nakamura might have missed that. Now he's playing
No,
knight d3.
no,
Oh,
he's
no,
gonna-
no, he's
he's
playing
gonna
knight
take on- he's
d3.
gonna
Yeah.
But still, all right. So you get your pawn back, and then you play takes, and then play c5. Wait, 2 pawns are hanging after the king moves. But wait a
It's
second,
bishops
is that
of
rook
opposite
d2?
color, but rook d2 check.
Hello,
Hello. Oh,
and
draw.
now it's going to be
A draw. Rook d1 check,
It's-
king e2, rook d2 check. Hikaru's, all he needs to do is clinch 8.5 points.
yeah. So he's just going to take the draw now, and
Yes.
just why waste anything here? And it's
And
the
the
second
draw.
draw in
Also,
a
the
row.
position, it doesn't look like he was winning in that game. So, all right, so yet another draw.
Maurice is winning this bet.
No more
I
draws?
don't understand, because I can. No, he's played rook over, and this is a challenge. This is a challenge. That's a great move, because he can't play king b7.
Because it's illegal.
Exactly.
Maybe b4 was
Was premature.
Was
Too
premature.
fast. With all that time on the clock, for the first time, maybe he should have slowed down.
Hold on.
What about C3 now?
C3 now.
Anyway.
And if
Anyway.
trade, rook takes, push, rook back,
Rook over.
bishop f3,
Oh, covering the square. Nice one.
doesn't work.
Does not work. Okay, we'll mix it up. Rook d8.
Rook
Take.
d8 now.
Check.
Nice refinement.
Exactly.
But wait a minute. If takes check and then c3 take rook a2, how do you get in?
Ooh, rook a2.
do you-
Then, no, I can't play rook d2 in that situation. Oh, I think...
What about throwing in b3 at some moment instead of taking on c3? You play pawn to b3 instead,
And then
stopping
play
rook
C3.
a2.
Right.
So no, we play c3
No,
first, and then
no,
after takes on c3 b3.
Oh,
Bishop f1. Hold on. Has he allowed king b7?
He has allowed king b7. What a decision. That looks good. Or even a bishop move. Oh, wait, that bishop move. Take that back. I didn't like that bishop move. I would have preferred king b7 to that last one. But king b7, bishop g2 check, you would have to go back. Your
b8.
Maybe the b8 would have been a slight improvement. So it wasn't that clear, king b7. But now...
Well, what's happening here after, say, king b8, just defending the pawn on a7? If you take with the pawn, well, then I'll move my bishop, and I'm... Whoa!
He's just played
What?
c3.
c3?
If take c2, bishop back to
E2.
e2, and what do you got?
Whoa!
Piece. Bishop back, and... Wow.
Whoa!
For real?
Are you serious?
What?
Is this like a
This
study?
is crazy.
Wow.
You can't play rook takes because of queens. He comes over.
Rook down.
Rook down, but
We
king
have to
F1.
at least keep our pawn.
Then a4.
Rook d2, and where are you going to put your? You're going to play
And then
king
if you move
f1.
the king a4, and you get two connected passers. This is crazy deep. Jen, you were talking about him winning deep games.
No, white wins because of his h pawn.
Right, but how?
Yeah.
Rook d2, king f1, right?
Right.
With
Rook
the idea of
d2,
king e1.
King f1,
A4.
a4, king e1, take on e2, take on e2, take on b3, king d2, b2, take on c2, take on c1, take on c1. The h pawn wins.
All right,
Everybody
guys,
at home
you just
followed
listed out some
all of
lines
that.
Nobody in the world except 26 over grandmasters
No.
can follow.
Yeah, let's slow it down. Slow it down.
But,
Okay,
but he's definitely thinking now. So rook d2, king f1, and then a4. And what are you planning to play
E1,
here?
King e1.
You're going to leave that pawn on the board for a second. No
Yes.
sacrifices work.
Yes.
Because you can play king d2 push, and your king gets over, and you have
and then
the
he's
h
looking
pawn.
at rook takes e2, king takes e2, takes on b3 with the philosophy that 2 pawns past the 6th rank are worth a rook.
No, but
But
king to
king
d2.
d2, b2.
The king and the rook will beat those pawns.
Right.
Right, and the h2
And the h pawn is still on the board.
Yes,
That's
and
the
that's
key, right.
the winner.
And here it is. Here it
King
comes, the
F1.
line.
And we see this
We
variation
see it happening
coming on
is
the
that
board.
h pawn.
Nakamura
That's
sees
the
it.
key in this position. That was a sacrifice he couldn't calculate, and now that he's looking at it, he realizes that he's lost.
Yes.
But it was
It's
brilliant.
winning.
In fact,
12 seconds, guys.
yeah, he's
And
resigning.
he's
Amazing.
resigned. He
He overlooked
missed it.
this play, and now he's down 3 games.
Hikaru.
Wow.
Well,
Stunning. I mean, that game was so fun to watch.
wow.
You know, Aronian is, well, actually, Nakamura is showing why he is number 2 in the
Considered.
world. He and Magnus, I want to see what number 1 looks like. Well, 2 looks like this. But he is showing why these 2
Fine.
bishops now slowly starting to talk a little bit loudly.
He played
We
rook
exist.
e1 because maybe queen c3, he thought that knight takes c4 was possible, and bishop e7, knight c3, and the rook, bishop on e2 is hanging in the end.
Fair enough.
That might be why he did that. Those little tactics with the loose bishop on h4.
Fair enough. Queen c1, crafty, cagey little move, stopping ideas of g5, which...
What happened anyway?
It's on the board.
You think he's going to take it?
Whoa.
Oh, he's
Can he
thinking about
sack?
taking it.
Can he sack? I don't think he can sack this bishop.
I thought the intention of queen c1 was to stop g5, and when it came out, I was like, uh-oh.
Total change.
But still, it doesn't matter if you take it or not. This is still a weakness for black.
Well,
You might be
okay.
able to play h4 and just nibble on g5.
Now knight back. The knight can go to d4 now. That d4 square we were concerned about for a long time. The knight is there. It's also...
Has he hung his a pawn,
he
though?
has hung an a pawn.
White takes a4, b6 is hanging, and
What was
okay.
that about?
Hikaru's going to have to prove the
Levon feels the victory now. He feels like he has it. Look at him sitting up in his chair.
By the way, 48 seconds for
there's
Levon.
a lot of game left to watch here, Marty.
He knows, I know, but he knows that he should win this. I have a free pawn in my hand. I've been up a queen at some point. I've got to win this one. It's just two bishops, free pawn, threatening the position. Now, can Nakamura really be Houdini again and get out of this one?
Well, he's going to try to keep pieces of the board and make things interesting.
Queen D6. Walking into
like
Bishop
hanging
G3 ideas?
Bishop G, even E5 is sneaking in the position, but he's got to get his bishop, and he has played it. E5 is on the board because now Bishop can move with a discovery on the queen and win an exchange. This wins an exchange immediately. Queen C6, oh, not quite, because the A4 knight is hanging. Good idea, but still, taking the knight, yeah, this looks very
juicy.
Comfortable.
Why couldn't he have taken the B6 pawn as well as a prelim move?
Maybe so. I wouldn't argue with you. But now a capture here.
He takes first, and now
whoa, opposite colored
bishops again. And boy, that's been a theme throughout this whole match. Classical. And now, hold on, there's a Rook D1 idea.
Yes, Rook D1's in the position.
Alert. As well as Bishop C4.
Bishop C4 is a serious threat. Well, no, Bishop C4, Rook E4, and he's played Rook E4 in advance.
Right.
Rook
E4, but very, very important
tempo. What does White have here?
Maintaining the threat of Rook D1 here with Queen B3.
Well, the question was something based on H4. And look at the time.
Look at the time yet again. Unreal.
So Levon had a choice there to play Rook E4 and try to repeat the position, but he chose to play
He just played B3 and hung a pawn. He just hung a pawn straight.
Not so clear. Queen B1.
He's got his ideas.
He's got his ideas of H4 and Queen F5. Pay attention.
He's going to have to show it if C4 happens. Oh, Bishop back attacking his rook. Now the rooks are doubled, and now here comes a trade. He's taking his pawn back.
Very good.
Taking his pawn back, and nothing's hanging. He could take Nakamura. 21 seconds. Sit up in his chair now.
20 seconds to 10.
King
oh
over.
My gosh, king up. H4, finally. He
got it in. Tripped it. Just like that. Maybe Queen
Opened
B7.
Up his king. Queen B6.
Oh, wow, an attack on the king with Queen F5. Check. 7 seconds left for him, guys. 7 seconds to 15. Those 2-second increments are going to be valuable.
Guarding that diagonal.
Guarding that square. Blocking the square. And attacking the bishop on C4. So Queen F5 check will come. Bishop takes. And now Bishop E6 looks. Whoa, Bishop E6 hangs mate, actually.
G8, Queen F5, Rook G6 is the idea.
Well,
Queen G2 is also the idea.
Oh, man.
4 seconds. 4 seconds
to 8 seconds. What is he going to do? Nakamura has to move. And he's played H3. Big threat. And now check. And he's taking that pawn. He's up. Bishop back. And now it's solid position for White. Clearly winning for White, but can he hold on with only 3 seconds left?
Oh, my goodness.
Blitzing moves Nakamura at a 2-second increment. He needs to make some moves. Aronian needs to just move. He just needs to move and keep getting those 2 seconds on the clock. Build up some clock time. And now he's solidifying his position, offering a trade. Whoa, he's traded. Why would you trade in this position?
Because he's going to try to set up a mating idea with Bishop on E5. Ooh.
Mate, that looks highly unlikely here.
But look at him go.
Bringing his pieces over, and now not so much worse, not so bad on the clock as before.
That's
but
why
now
he
a
traded
trade.
Queens.
Whoa, no trade.
That is why he traded.
Oh, he's threatening Rook E2. He's threatening Rook E2 is block. A sneaky threat in the position. Rook E2, but can't he play it? Why can't he play it?
E2, King G1.
King G1 is possible indeed.
And there goes the pawn.
A6.
What's going on?
Oh, gosh, maybe he should have played Rook
A7.
A7, you can't take it because the king takes G2.
But if Bishop H3 is the pawn
Bishop F2.
Bishop F2, just guarding
holding
the pawn
on to a
and ready
long
to play.
pawn, and now they're even on the clock again. Oh, he's taken and gone into this endgame. This endgame is a draw from a theoretical perspective for sure, but can White win it with the bishop and the rook?
Gosh, this...
No!
Oh, no!
Oh, my God, his bishop is gone. Oh, no, now he's theoretically drawing again is White, but on the worst end of this position, it's going to be rough. He's going to have to prove that he knows what he's doing to draw this position perfectly. I think he knows what to do, but he's devastated. He can't believe it.
He hung a bishop.
Massive turnaround there.
Oh, wow.
And now building time up is Nakamura. He's going to just keep building time.
So a theoretical draw, but not going to be
virtually impossible in practical play to save this by Levon.
Levon has to know everything about this endgame in order to save it. It's supposed to be a draw.
Remember how he saved against Carlsen? He knew his stuff. That was that game versus Carlson.
His endgames are extraordinary.
Sinfield Cop, look it up.
I believe he can draw this one. I believe he knows exactly what to do to draw this position. But
would be
will he
stunned.
be able to do it with the clock ticking?
I would be stunned if he was able to draw it. Really, this
Here
is
we
so
go again,
tough.
this maneuver. But this is just supposed to be a book draw. Not that I could draw it. I'm here. Now he's played the move, so he can block with his rook. What a cunning idea. He can block now, shelter with the rook.
Exactly.
And this is looking good.
Ooh.
Yes,
Yes.
very much so. And now,
Now preventing an obvious advance, but King F2 doesn't work. 3 seconds now on the
That's
clock,
right. He's
and
also
there's
close.
Nakamura, and now he's taking the pawn, and this looks like a lost endgame, is it? Close to it for
so.
sure. He cannot trade.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Wait a second. This might be.
still in the.
This might be still a draw.
Not sure, Maurice.
Oh,
I think
it's
this
just
is
one of
losing.
these precise ones that John Nunn writes about. Anywhere it is, it's just a mistake or not a mistake. It's a draw or not, and then the pawn, and bam, he's saved the draw.
King versus
Amazing.
King, a draw. Nice